In today's video, we'll be learning about how to learn about the operators which are there in Spring WebFlux. So now that we have covered few mostly used operators which are there in Spring WebFlux in some of the videos, you now must be having an understanding around how to use the operators and what they do. Apart from that, you also have an understanding around how the data flows in the reactive chain and how it can get transformed in between the chain, right? And then how it will start flowing in the downstream. So with this understanding that you have, I thought it's better not to keep continuing uh, making the videos around the operators, like these are all the operators which are there and this is how they work. I thought it was not adding that much value. Now that you have a general idea around how these operators works and how things happen in the reactive programming paradigm, you can continue this journey on your own. You can explore things on your own. So this video is kind of something like what I follow in understanding about these operators in Spring WebFlux, how I learn them, and how I gain an understanding around the same. So you can also follow the same or maybe a bit different approach based on your learning style and learn about these operators on your own, right? Okay, so let's dive right in. The first thing that I do is create a playground repository, right? Like I have this one, which I have shared the link to also in my previous videos. So this is a repo that I created just to play with these operators. Now, if I want to learn about an operator, uh, so as you can see, I use IntelliJ and it provides this IntelliSense, right? I make use of the IntelliSense very heavily in learning about new operators. Uh, so this is a bit different style. You can also choose to go to the actual documentation of Reactor Core to learn about what all operators are there, but this is something that I follow. So what I do generally is, if I want to learn about some operators which operate on the Flux publisher, I first go and write a test, right? I then create a Flux publisher and then I make use of this IntelliSense. Now this gives me the list of all the operators which are there, which can be applied to a Flux publisher, right? Now, if I'm interested in learning about a certain operator, right here I can see there is an operator called distinct, for example. Now, from the name, I can speculate what it must be doing. So, uh, it might be doing something like, from the Flux publisher, if there is duplicated data that is coming downstream, then the distinct operator makes sure that uh, only distinct data goes downstream. It filters out all the duplicates out of the upstream data. So that's what I can assume from the name, and once I have this assumption, I can validate my assumption by writing a test for it, right? So I can just use it, and I can create a Flux publisher which is publishing duplicate data, like 1 2 2 3 4 4 5, right? And then I can subscribe to it and print out, oh sorry, I can take this and print out whatever is being published, right? The Onyx, right? And I can run this and just validate my understanding. If I see this now, right, I'm getting 1 2 3 4 5. So yeah, that's how it works. The distinct operator removes all the duplicates from the upstream data and just gives us the distinct data, right? So this was pretty straightforward. Like, from the name itself, I was able to understand how it works, right? And I just validated it's working. Suppose there is some operator which is a bit trickier to understand, right? From the name itself, like I was just exploring in the morning. There is this operator. One second. Let me comment this out. Distinct until changed. So this operator was there, and from the name, right, I cannot really understand what it is doing, right? So what I do is I make use of the go-to sources functionality that's there in IntelliJ, I can press Command B and I can go to the sources, right, of this. And here you can see there is some documentation provided, right? So I generally go through this documentation first. I try to understand what this documentation is trying to tell about this operator. Now, if I understand it, again I follow the same approach. I go back to the test and validate my understanding. If I do not understand it, I go to the browser. I use Google or ChatGPT to understand this particular operator, right? So yeah, this is how I learn about these operators. Now over here, for example, right, if we go through the documentation, it says filter out subsequent repetitions of an element. That is, if they arrive right after one another. The last distinct value seen is retained for further comparison. So from this line, what I can, obviously I have played with it before and I know this, pre-hand, what this operator is used for. But when I read it for the first time, I spent some time in understanding what it is trying to say, and finally I understood that it just filters out the elements which are having subsequent repetitions, right? What that means is, if I go back to the test, right, and what I'll do is, here we have 2 2 3, then we have 4. I'll add another 3 here, right? So if I use the distinct operator here and if I run this, I'll still get the distinct data, which is 1 2 3 4 5. But if I use distinct until changed operator, just see what we get. We get 1 2 3 4 3 4 5. So you can see the duplicates are still there because 3 4 3 4, these are not subsequent duplicates, whereas 2 2, there were subsequent repetitions. That's why we can see only 1 2 over here. So that's the difference between distinct and distinct until changed, and that's how I understood it, right? So yeah, basically, in a nutshell, that's how I learn about the operators. I make use of this IntelliSense, I make use of the documentation. If I don't understand the documentation, I go to ChatGPT or I go to the actual reactor code documentation and try to understand how this operator works, right? So you can maybe follow the similar approach, similar structure while learning about these operators, or you can do things on your own way, whatever works for you, right? So yeah, you can now continue with your journey in exploring these operators. Since now you know some basic operators which are there, you have this idea how these operators work, and you can continue this journey on your own. Although I still will be making some videos and explaining some of the uh, trickier operators. Like for example, we covered mono.differ and mono.just in one of the videos, right? It was a bit trickier to understand, which needed some sort of explanation. So those kind of operators will still be covering, but most of them you can learn on your own. Very basic operators there are out there. I didn't want to cover all of them in videos. That's why I just made this video in explaining how you can explore on your own, right? So see you in the next one with some trickier operators, which we can talk about, right? Yeah, bye. Thank you.